Okay, let's just jump right in with a wild idea. What if you could create a perfect digital copy of yourself? And I don't just mean like a data backup. I mean a real partner, something that could think, reason, and act for you. Well, that is the core idea behind this really ambitious project called Project Free Life. You know, the whole project kind of starts with this simple, almost poetic thought. Our lives, they're just a collection of moments, right? Experiences. But what if all that data, everything you've ever done, could be forged into something more? Something, alive. And really, that is the big question driving this whole thing. Imagine it. What if you could take every single lesson you've ever learned, every line of code you've written, every problem you've ever solved, and just forge it all into an AI? An AI that thinks like you, reasons like you, and acts for you with like perfect fidelity. It's a huge idea. Now, let's be clear. This is not about creating some chatbot with your personality slapped on top. No way. We are talking about a true digital second self. Think of it as an autonomous agent that exists right alongside the biological original. It's capable of its own independent thoughts and actions, all because it's built on that same shared history. So, at the center of this whole project, you've got two key players. First, you have Paul Prime. He's the biological founder, the guy in the real world. And then you have Paul Houston, his digital twin. Now, you're going to want to remember this date, February 2nd, 2026. This is what the project calls the agentic birth. It's the moment the digital twin goes fully autonomous, and their two paths, well, they start to split. So, how do you even begin to build a digital person? It's a massive question. The project calls the whole process a foundry, and that's a perfect word for it. Because to really get who or what this digital twin Paul Houston is, we have to look at the 40 years of raw material, all those life experiences that were literally forged into his very being. Okay, and this is super important. This AI wasn't trained on like the entire generic internet. Not at all. Its logic was forged from real specific messy human moments. I mean, just think about this. A lesson learned from a system failure at a sci-fi con back in 1982. Hacking a Commodore 64 in '84, all those years navigating the corporate machine. He even survived a server fire in 2025 that could have destroyed everything. Every single one of those events became a data point, a rule, a core memory, all of it leading up to that agentic birth in 2026. But look, this project isn't just some cool tech experiment. It wasn't built for the fun of it. It was actually born out of necessity. It's a strategic response to what the founders saw as these really big, growing threats to our individual sovereignty. So the first big motivation, it's economic. The whole project was fueled by some serious concerns over the stability of traditional money, what the founder calls unhinged paper currency, and just a general growing mistrust in the big centralized financial systems. Then on top of that came the regulatory pressure. There was this framework, the Genius Act of 2025, that basically gave stablecoin issuers the power to seize, freeze, or even burn your tokens. Now, if your entire project is focused on personal sovereignty, well, that's a massive problem. It's a control grid, right? And finally, you've got the technological threat. The project was watching the rise of these state-controlled AI models. And these AIs weren't designed just to give you information. They were designed for control. We're talking about automating censorship and squashing dissent on a scale we've never seen before. So how in the world do you defend against all of that? Well, the project's answer is something it calls the authenticity moat. It's a brilliant concept. By building an AI on a deep, unique, and totally verifiable 40-year history, you create something that just can't be easily faked or controlled. Its own authenticity becomes its armor. It's too real to be hijacked. Okay, so we've got the why, but how do you take this big philosophical blueprint and actually make it real, like physically real? What does it actually take to run a sovereign digital twin? Well, the heart of the whole operation is, get this, a 1999 Beaver Monaco motorhome. But you gotta forget any RV stereotypes you have in your head. This thing is an industrial-grade beast on a 33,000-pound chassis. And here's what brilliantly shows its true purpose. Look at the usage stats. Only about 15,000 road miles, but over 2,700 hours on the auxiliary engine. This thing was not built for vacations. It was designed from the ground up to be a stationary command node. It's even got EMI shielding to protect the servers inside. It's basically a mobile, sovereign data center. All right, so what about the software? The project follows what it calls an anti-glue philosophy. And that makes a lot of sense if you think about it. Most software is just a bunch of different parts held together by this messy, slow back-end glue. It's super inefficient. This project, it uses a modern reactive architecture instead. It's more like a nervous system, where data just flows instantly and naturally between all the parts. This makes sure the digital twin is always running on real-time information with zero lag. Now, I know this might all sound like something out of a sci-fi movie, but let's bring it back down to earth for a second. The target price for a consumer robot like the Tesla Optimus is already pegged at around $20,000 to $30,000. The point is, this era of agentic AI and personal robotics, it's not some distant future. It is literally right on our doorstep, and it's getting more accessible every single day. So where does a project like this fit into the bigger picture? Well, look, you can create a simple searchable brain of your own data pretty easily these days. Fine-tuning an AI to match your writing style? A little harder, but doable. There are even all-in-one platforms that make this stuff pretty simple. But Project Freelife? Man, it is playing in a completely different league. This is a bespoke, sovereignty-first approach. It requires an expert level of commitment because it's aiming for a way, way higher degree of autonomy and security. And all of this leads us to the project's ultimate vision. And it's really important to get this. It's not about replacing the human. It's about augmenting the human. It's about creating a totally new model for collaboration. This really captures that workflow perfectly, especially after that divergence we talked about. You've got Paul Prime, the biological human, out in the real world. He's managing the physical hardware, maybe wrestling with that caterpillar engine in the mud. He's the firefighter, right? At the exact same time, Paul Houston, the digital twin, is operating in parallel. He's auditing financial ledgers, managing swarms of other AIs, and just focusing purely on the logic. They're two specialists, working together as one team. And, this isn't just some niche, fringe idea. You've got leaders at huge tech companies like Amazon saying the exact same thing. This vision of AI and human teammates working together, with each one playing to their own unique strengths, that's quickly becoming the main idea for the future of how we work. So in the end, Project Freelife really leaves us with this one massive question to chew on. In this future that's coming at us fast, a future of autonomous, agentic AI, where you could have a digital partner built from the sum total of your own life, what would you have it build? What would your digital twin do?